How important do you think it is for all these people to be brought together for this particular workshop?
I think it's important in terms of trying to take stock of where we are now. We've been doing work on innovation in different areas in the region, and it's important that people come together and share experiences and take stock of what we've done so far and where this area of work needs to go in the future.
Now, there could be a slight criticism that's too much reflection and not enough looking forward. How do you feel about that?
I think it's important to take stock, it's important to reflect, because it is based on that reflection that we sort of try to distill what lessons we take to the future, what approaches are working and that need to be scaled out, and to also see some of the things that are not working, so that as we move forward, then we know what are the things we should avoid, what are the things we should improve. So I think it's critical to reflect, but we also need to be careful that we're using that reflection to inform what we do in the future.
So from your perspective and the work that you do, sort of reflecting back, completely lost my question now. I had it in my head just now. So in terms of reflecting on your own work then, what do you think is the most important thing to sort of take things forward?
I think one of the areas that we certainly need to strengthen as we look at innovation systems is the whole area of farmer organizations and what role farmer organizations can take in defining the agenda of the research agenda, and how we strengthen them to take advantage of some of the emerging issues. How do they take advantage of emerging markets? How do we build their organizational capacity for them to be able to compete, for example, with large-scale farmers? And how does research then help them to respond to the challenges and issues that are going to emerge from such engagements? And I think research, in a way, needs to reform and place itself more in the development context, so that it's more relevant to the issues of smallholder farmers, to the emerging issues of markets, of climate change, and so on. So I do believe there's need for research, for knowledge and research for science, but at the same time we need to balance that with research that responds to the current development context.
So, I mean, you've probably just answered this, but if, after all these 2 days of discussions related to that, related to farmer organisations, what do you think is the key thing that you would like to see coming out of the workshop?
I think what I would like to see more coming out of the workshop is a united front in terms of those of us that are practicing these approaches, really coming together and taking them forward, because a lot of us have been doing them on a small scale, but the real challenge is how do we scale this out? How do we get, for example, national research programs using some of these innovation systems approaches, because in some countries we're still seeing very top-down approaches that we know can work for certain purposes, but that we also know are not empowering enough in terms of getting farmers out of poverty. So we really need to have some strategies of how to scale out these processes and how to institutionalize them, especially in national programs.